That's a big question.
A life question.
I feel like motorbikes give me a lot. It's opened up a whole new world that I never.
Isn't that from a wedding?
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Disney Plus.
Yeah. Sponsored by Disney. Just one day I just thought, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna get a bike because
Yeah.
it's what I really want to do.
Right.
All right, let's go.
Sid, ching ching.
Cheers, mate. Good to see you.
Nice to meet you, mate.
That was a nice little ride out.
It was. So, to set the scene, sat in a nice country pub.
Yep. Where?
Cozy,
White Horse.
white horse, in the middle of nowhere.
I don't even know where we are in the country.
Somewhere. Good. Right. So, introduce yourself.
I'm Sid, aka Scrambler Sid, I guess on Instagram. Yeah, so I don't really know what to say.
So, motorbiking.
Yeah.
Where did you start? Or to begin with, what inspired you to get into motorbiking?
That's a very good question. I don't think I've got a pinpoint kind of situation. You know, I didn't have like an uncle or a dad who rode. Actually, saying that, my dad rode and stuff like that, but it's before my time. But it wasn't like part of my upbringing, like a lot of people are. It became it's just over time. To be honest with you, the thing that there's a couple of things that in mainstream media that probably like was like really drew me to like the biking world and bikers, and you're probably gonna laugh at this, but there's two people, or two kind of groups of people, the hairy bikers, because so yeah, I love food. You know, every kind of situation that I put myself in is around food and things like that. I used to, like, during uni and stuff like that, I worked as a chef, and like, you know, Jamie Oliver, all those kind of guys and stuff like that. But one of the two guys that really like caught my attention were the two hairy bikers and them and seeing. I knew nothing about bikes back then, so I couldn't even tell you what bikes they were riding back in the day. And I think they were like cruiser style bikes and stuff like that they had.
So was it the camping side to it, where they sort of cook it on the go?
Do you know what? I think it was the freedom element of it. The fact that they would cook something, ride somewhere, and just have that element of freedom, and that just sounded just looked really cool just from watching it on TV. It was that, and then also, obviously, like a lot of people, like Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman, like, you know, going around the world and stuff, like one of their first inventions. Actually, on top of that, I also read Jupiter's Travels.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
So not like many people.
Yeah. So before I got even into the biking world, like, I think I was probably about 19, 20 when I first read it.
How did you come across that book though?
Just by accident. I think I was in the bookstore one day and just like saw it, and the cover looked really cool, and I was like really into adventures. I was really traveling around then. I was like traveling around Thailand and a few other places like that. So I was really interested in people who travel and had a story to tell. And I just kept, I think it was Ted Simon who wrote the book.
He's released a new version with photography.
Oh, really?
Unseen.
Need to check it out. Side note. So those, I think those three influences, like, have always been part of my life, but it's never got to like, oh, I need to go and get a bike immediately. I think for about 7 or 8 years before I got onto a bike, it was kind of in the background, just like I've always been drawn to those kind of adventures, those kind of types of characters and what they were up to, especially Charlie Borman and Ewan McGregor. Like, you know, they've done a few series, and that kind of really sparked my interest in it. And then just one day I just thought, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna get a bike because it's what I really want to do. I didn't realize there were so many hoops and things that you need to jump through to get a bike, but I kind of recently moved to Bishop Stortford, you know, kind of done that stage in life. You know, you've kind of settled down, and it's usually you know, the other half that kind of discourages you from getting a bike and things like that. You know, bikers or biking has a bit of a negative stereotype to an extent, but also I guess the safety thing as well, right? Like it's
Yeah.
everyone sees it as like, and I really hate this. Like every time you say that you ride a bike, someone always says, "Oh, I know someone who's died right on a bike." It seems like the initial reaction is that someone, it's like you ride a bike, someone finds out you ride a bike, and then they really want to tell you a story about like, I had a cousin who rode a bike, and they had a crash and trying to, yeah, they put you off, and I just find that really frustrating. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to do it. Well, like, I don't want to. I've always kind of had people say like you shouldn't do something in my life, and I just thought, you know what, this is it. I'm just going to do it. So I decided to, as everyone does, go on Auto Trader, spend about a month just opening up multiple tabs, trying to find the perfect bike.
So you didn't know what you was looking at?
I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew the kind of style that I liked. I know I didn't like sports bikes. I wasn't too. To be honest with you, I did like the American cruiser lifestyle more than the bike. I think Harleys and stuff like that. You know, that kind of stuff like that. It's a
Most people visualize that first, don't they?
yeah, that you do.
All
Yeah, exactly. So when you see it on
that's what I was
TV, you know that I don't know what that film what's that film with like John Travolta and those guys who got Wild Hogs? I don't know if
Wild
you.
Hogs, yeah.
It's like a cheesy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I used to watch that.
Route
But
66.
yeah. I used to love that film. You know, I used to watch that film probably once a year for about 5 years. Just like it's like Chris. You know, it's actually a really great film, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because if you go and watch it. Don't judge me too harshly on it, but it's yeah, it's a great film. But you know, those are the kind of influences that have been in my life. Obviously, it's been very mainstream media. It's not been through kind of family collections or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just decided that I wanted a bike that kind of suited what I liked.
The lifestyle that you want to
Yeah, which is about, just being able to jump on a bike, have a bit of freedom, meet some cool people that are in that thing. That's always been my goal. It's never been to like jump on a bike and see if I can go the fastest and try and go myself. Like that's never
So
been
it's the freedom, the travel.
yeah. So like I guess the more slower bikes, right? Like it's never been about speed for me. It's never been about um shiny, fancy kind of, I must have a Ducati or I must have like the equivalent of a Ferrari or whatever. It's always just been like, I'd love to just have a nice, cool bike where you can have like a cool community that's around that. And obviously being restricted to a 125, that limited options.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely I've heard a lot of people say like, "Oh, you're so lucky because you've got so many choices when you first started off." Because back in the day, you'd only have like one or two options. It would be like a Yamaha or something, or when I started looking online, there were a few options. I think there are a couple of options in my mind when I was kind of first looking. I think it was I think it's Mutt.
Yeah.
Mutt do the kind of scrambler type bike.
Black Sabbath.
Yeah, those are most of the bikes that kind of I initially started looking at.
So the timeless modern retro look.
Yeah, exactly. And those are those kind of bikes I started looking at. Like I mentioned, Mutt. There was a few others that I can't remember the top of their names off, but like Herald, a few others, and there's like Mash. Yeah. So as far as I understand it, I think they're essentially
Pretty much
kind
all
of
the same
Chinese
engine.
imported bikes that have kind of been taken over by a UK company and they've made it look like, I know, like,
Put their own spin on it.
yeah, it's not exactly the top quality type of things, but I think it for a starter bike, they're brilliant, right? Like, because you have a foundation of the bike and you start kind of building your kind of style on top of that, which is great. So, you've got Mutt, you've got Herald, like you said, there's a couple of others. I got really drawn to Herald's because I saw the Brat 125, which I think when we first met, you kind of saw me on the little orange machine that was I was kind of running around on. So I just decided to pull the trigger. I bought it secondhand somewhere. I bought it off a dealer. I think I still remember calling up the dealer going, "Yeah, tell me about it." But I bought it unseen. I never saw the bike. So this
Oh,
is
just from what
the bike. It's on the
pictures
description.
and-
So I think I found it on Auto Trader. I never saw the bike. I know it like went against every single thing that everyone's like try that, get on the bike, ride it, things like that. I was so excited. I
So
was
you was
so
committed.
desperate to get a bike.
You was committed.
I just bought it on face value of the ad.
Yeah.
I thought it's a dealer. There is, there were. I dug a bit deeper. There were like guarantees and things like that. So I just thought, you know what, I'll do it. Called up the dealer. At the same time, I was doing my license as well. Right, I was doing the kind of the CBT. Obviously, I hadn't passed by then.
Oh, so you bought the bike before
Before I actually passed.
CBT.
So you probably saw me around coming up to Goldtop with my L plate still on a few times. There was a period when but that as soon as I bought that bike, it really drove me to be like, I need to pass.
Yeah.
Because I got the bike, absolutely loved it, and it was great. I had it for about 6 or 7 months or 8 months. And then I passed my license, I think. Because I wanted to, before I booked in my test, I just thought, all right, I'll do my CBT. Loved the feeling on what you get. Got my Herald brat, and really just instantly fell in love with it. Like it was
So prior to that, had you been on a bike before that?
not officially. So like I've had a few goes on mates' bikes. I've had a few goes on when I was like in my family's from Sri Lanka, and when we used to go back as a kid, my uncle had like little scooter 125 kind of cub thing. So I used to like just jump on there and drive around and as a kid, or even this actually completely contradicts what I did. I said at the beginning, it's like I did have an uncle who everyone rides bikes in Sri Lanka. Like it's the
Way of life.
Yeah, and a couple of times I've been on the back of his, and I just remember him basically putting his foot down once and just like really going fast, and I just burst out laughing. I was just loving it. I just remember him turning around going, "You love speed, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I fucking love it." So yeah, so the one thing that I really kind of, as soon as I got that bike, one of the things that I really loved is that I could open up a map, go on Google Maps and be like, I can go there without like, with a car it's different, right? Like you got to find parking, like you've got to, it's not like you go and ride for fun. So I used to just like, before I even had my license, I used to just like look on Google Maps, like where can I go? Maybe I'll find like a point of interest somewhere, go and check it out and just ride. And just because I wanted to learn, I used to go to, there's like a church car park near me. I used to just go there before my test and used to like practice my figure of eights and stuff like that. Really stuff like that was really fun to do. But one of the things that I really enjoyed was going and finding places, and that's actually how I found Goldtop, because I just searched up biker places near me, and like Goldtop came up, and it was just like, I remember like the first time I ever went there, and if you've ever been to Goldtop's car park, it's the gravel, it's intimidating. When you're a beginner, I remember like pulling up there and just like putting both my feet down and just like parking, just like parking in the corner, just being like all these other big bikes around and be like, just be like, it's like, oh, hi guys, can you be here? So yeah,
I vaguely remember the first day you turned it up.
yeah, probably, and just like parking myself there, just getting, and you know what, and I think one of the things that I really love about biking is, I think even more than the bike itself, is the community. Like,
So
I was like, yeah, exactly. You'd come in there. I think like because I was a learner and because I was like new to it, like people were like very enthusiastic about it, and people like immediately came up to my bike and was like, "What is that? Oh, that looks really cool. Is that like a 400? Is it?" I was like, "No, mate." I don't know. This is a 125, and yeah, exactly. So, so I used to just as soon as I got introduced to that, I thought, oh, this must be a one-off, because I'm sure people aren't as friendly in usual. Because like, I don't think there's any hobby or any activity that you get like people don't care who you are.
Yeah.
People come up to you and talk to you about your bike.
It's not as in depth. They don't. I don't know. There's this. Cheesy as it is, it's a brotherhood.
Yeah.
Without saying it.
Yeah.
As in, like, you just automatically connect with.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it doesn't matter what kind of background you're from or like who you are, what you believe in, what gender, what race you are, whatever. It feels like that's almost stripped away, and you kind of just admire a machine, right? Because a lot of people, well, I didn't realize there's a huge amount of customization to biking as well, and people admire and be like, oh, what have you done to that? Like, oh, have you changed that? Have you changed, like, oh, what exhaust is that and stuff like that? And I didn't realize like how awesome the world of customization is as well, because there is that world of biking, but then everyone really wants to know what you've done to your bike and how you made it look like that, right? So I think that's one of the things around biking that I really enjoy, and I've always kind of been attracted to, and as soon as I got a taste for it, I just thought, you know what, I need more of this. Yeah, there's nothing that I've ever done, like I've whatever sports, whatever kind of other activity that I've kind of done, I've never had this sense of emotion.
Camaraderie as there is in the motor.
And it's instant
culture.
camaraderie. Like it's instant, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like we're sitting in a pub garden right now. If a biker turned up, we'd go and speak to them, right?
Yeah.
Like
Or,
you would
or
never
they
do
go
that.
past and give the nod.
Yeah, yeah,
The nod of
yeah. Which I
understand, like,
which I
know
never,
I've accepted.
yeah, exactly. When I was,
Secret club.
yeah, which I never knew about. So when the first time I ever went on my bike, I remember pulling up on this like Brat 125, being nervous as hell. This is probably my second day I've ever taken my bike out. And I'm pulling up to the lights, and these two bikers on sports bikes came up, and I looked at them, and they nod at me, and I'm like, what is that? What are you nodding at me for? And I had no idea that yeah. I was like, is this? And then he like nodded at me again. And I was like, okay. I must have looked rude as hell because I had no idea about this. And then, yeah, exactly. So I got to like just really, I think as soon as I found out about how welcoming the culture is, how welcoming the whole kind of world of biking is, I just thought, you know what, I need a little bit more of this. I'm gonna go.
So at this point, you're still riding on your own.
Exactly. I had not met anyone apart from like obviously coming to Gold Club a few times here and there. Like speaking to yourself and me and a few others that were working at the shop. I never really kind of had that instant connection to people in a community. So that kind of drove me to be like, cool, this bike's cool and I like it, but very aware that when you're riding along, a 125 that only has that amount of power.
Yeah.
I thought a big bike can't be that much different, can it? Like, and stuff like that initially in my head. And then I started watching more YouTube videos. And actually, that's how I started following certain people that, like back then, I was like, oh my God, these guys seem really cool. Like the likes of Freddie Dobbs and a few others that we've kind of spoken about personally. we I I just really like what they were doing because they were like there's a lot of these guys on YouTube that seemed quite free in what they could do. They were just like, go and drive somewhere. And just just seem to really enjoy the freedom that a bike can give you.
Was the plan always to just stop at a 125, or was the 125 to sort of have a taster, see if you liked it, and then go on to bigger things?
I don't think I had a plan, but when I had my 125, I did think I probably should stick to a 125 so I can just get familiarized
Experience.
with how a bike works and how you could, because the last thing I want to do is just get on a bike, crash, and then be like, that's it. I've had enough. Yeah, exactly. So I thought I'd learn how the bike behaves. I'll just see if I can push it to the limits a little bit and stuff like that. And then quickly did I realize that the 125s have limits, and you because I didn't know better, like,
Yeah.
and I just thought, oh yeah, it'll be fine to have that. But as soon as I passed my bike license, I was like, yeah,
I've got to fucking rock it.
yeah, exactly. I was like, screw this world. I'm gonna go, get the biggest bike I can.
So your current bike
Yeah,
now is
it's a Scrambler 900. Yeah, Triumph.
right.
Yeah.
So that very first day it got delivered, what was that feeling, that experience of throwing your leg over it, turning the key, and then pulling away?
Oh mate, it's absolutely incredible. Actually, I kind of go back a step before when I went to go in and buy the bike, I went to a dealership, to the Triumph dealership, and I just remember like I think I probably went there the day after I passed my bike,
Yeah.
passed my bike license, sorry. And I thought that's it. I need to go. I remember speaking to you actually. I think it was it you or Lee about you were like, oh, you need to go go and test drive them, go and see them, take your time. And initially I thought I'll do the sensible thing. Like maybe I'll get like a 300cc or a 400cc bike, and like do that because everywhere you watch on YouTube, they're like, oh yeah, take your time, grow up, go up the ladder and stuff like that. And I remember looking at certain bikes because I really like the modern classic style. That's why I gravitate to essentially any bike with a circular headlight, right? Like is that kind of look that I really like. So I was looking at the Triumphs. I was looking at a number of different other things as well. I don't think at the time Triumph did a 400. I think they do them now. So I was looking at like smaller bikes, so like 400s and things like that. There was a whole range, and I was kind of second guessing myself, and I think I spoke to you, and you were just like just go big or go home, right? So I remember going the next day to the dealership, Triumph dealership, looking at certain bikes. Looked at, I think it was like the Speed 900 or something. I can't remember. And there's a few others. I think I went in there thinking I'm going to get a T100. Thought I was going to get a Bonneville T100 Classic. I really liked it. Everyone's riding one. It seems like a really nice, cool bike. Went there, looked around, and sat on the T100. Felt really nice. I was like, yeah, this is really cool. There was a T120 next to it. I was like, can I go straight? Can I go straight from a 125 to a 1200? Yeah, sure, I can. I looked at that, and then also what was it was such a difficult choice. It's like typical kind of typical first world problem, wasn't it? Like, what bike can I go and buy? Like, I'm really struggling here. So I was looking at the T100 drawn by the T120, and the corner of my eye I saw a bobber. I was like, that looks cool. That's like a really, like that kind of the silhouette of a
So
bobber.
at that point, that's when it was like brand new out.
Yeah, it was fairly
Hardly
new.
any
Yeah.
you'd seen on the road.
Exactly. This is what now, like about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. No, about 4 years ago, something like that. Yeah. So I was just like, really nice profile. And I was like, oh mate, what is that bike? The guy was like, oh, when did you pass your test? Blah blah blah. He was like, oh, 1200 might be a bit. And I was like, let me sit on it. I was on it. I was like, oh, goodness, this is cool. I felt like instantly, I was like, oh, this is something out of like,
This is what I've been missing.
yeah, exactly. And then I was just like, oh, I should probably be like, sensible. I came here for the Bonnie T100. Probably should do it. And then I did another round, looking at all the bikes, and I saw the Scrambler, and I was just like, ooh, that looks nice. That was like, it looks like the T100. It looks like a Bonneville, but a bit more rugged,
More
a bit more, yeah,
stance,
a bit
more
more, so yeah, a bit more like,
adventure style.
yeah, exactly. So it's something that can be said. And I just thought, oh mate, that was,
Steve McQueen-esque.
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's very, very kind of that was going through my mind. I was like, oh, this is a bit more. There's an element of like coolness to it, which I like with the high pipes.
Rebellious.
Yeah, with the kind of semi, kind of off-road tires and things like that. It looked like, oh yeah. As soon as I sat on it, I just thought, yeah, that's it. It just felt right. There's something about it. It just felt right. So just yeah, that I think I was in that dealership for about 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yeah, I was just like back and forth, just like that, and yeah, it was a great day. I think about that day constantly. So I just decided on the day. I just thought that's it. This is going to be it. And then
And then when you got it home, that first feeling of
yeah, so I had it delivered because obviously it needed to be like it was a brand new bike, so it needed to be all done, made ready, and things like that. Yeah, so I remember the first day it got delivered, the Triumph truck arrives. I was like nervous as hell. I was like looking out the window, like it's like when's Santa coming?
so this is prior to no test ride or anything?
No, no. Yeah, yeah. I don't think because at the time, well, I can't even remember. I don't think so. I bought the bike as I was passing my test, so I didn't even test ride it.
Yeah, I don't think they allow it.
Yeah, yeah. So they didn't allow it, so I just sat on it. I just bought it. Um, and
Turn up at your home.
it turns up to this big Triumph truck
So it's like
arrives.
scary as hell.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Throw your leg over. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is a monster."
Yeah, exactly. So I remember just like turning the engine, turning on the ignition, and just like it rumbles to life. I'm just like, wow,
Mhm.
this is it. This is it. Um, just like I didn't even move an inch. Like I was like scared to put it in gear. Like I was just sitting there, just like revving it. Like
Yeah.
obviously it's brand new, so I wasn't revving it too crazy. Um, and I remember just going, "That's it." I ran back inside, got all my stuff together, put my helmet on, and was like, "I'm gonna go for a ride. I'm gonna go for a ride. This is it." And
Where was your first thought to go?
mate, I don't think. I think it was Gold Top. Yeah, so I think it was just like somewhere I know, somewhere out there. And I just remember like just pulling up. I was like, I've got to go show my new bag to everyone, to my new friends.
Was it like night and day?
You
Right, that first as you pulled down the road.
Oh my god, the
Whoa.
difference. The
Yeah.
difference was insane, yeah. The just like in second gear, I'm already at 60. Like I'm like, what is this? Like
Someone
the
else
fastest my
comes
bike could ever do is like 57 miles an hour or something. So it was good. And that's downhill, just in.
strategically planned.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was brilliant. I think I took like the longest way round I could to get to Gold Top as well, just because I was just enjoying it. Um and yeah, it felt so easy to ride, and I just remember like pulling up again to Gold Top and be like, "This is my new bag, guys." So yeah,
I remember that day. Grin as
yeah,
wide as
yeah,
you can.
exactly. So I was just like this, yeah, and since getting the Scrambler, it's like a lot of the Triumphs and the Royal Enfields, they're highly customizable as well, and I just thought, okay, I need to change a few things.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few things, and the first thing that I do, like most people do, get rid of that exhaust because those big ass exhausts however, for a stock bike, they sound good, but I know there are bikes out there that sound better. So I was just like, second day again, went on Google and I was like, let's look at some pipes.
So then less money.
Yeah, exactly. You end up, and I remember speaking to you about your bike, and it's like, "What have you done?" And he was like, "I remember you telling me it's like change bits by bits because then you know what you know how your bike behaves. What there's bits about it that you learn. You get familiar with your bike, and I think that's what I started doing to an extent where I've not like gone crazy, right? I've not changed too much on my bike. There's a few bits and bobs I've changed, but like even just taking the simple thing as taking the exhaust
Cosmetics.
but also, I feel like the weight as well. There's elements of it like that. Stock exhaust is a good like 6 kilos or something. So changing a few bits here and there has really helped kind of make it your own, right?
Put your own stamp on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think which is another part of that biking culture and thing that people admire as well. It's an instant talking point, right? You turn up to a bike meet and stuff like that where it's like, oh yeah, and people start recognizing a bike as well, which is cool. Yeah, and since then, I've been going to as many bike meets and different places and things like that around the local area. And since me and you guys are Gold Top and a few other places like that, I kind of started going to more meets where other people like-minded, and it's still scary when you turn up to a giant bike meet and you're like, especially if you're on your own.
Yeah.
But quickly do you kind of realize, like, oh, everyone else rides a Triumph as well. Or like,
And obviously you're joining the group as well, so it's expanded even more, like people you meet and stuff.
yeah,
So, and then it's from getting into motorbiking,
yeah,
it's triggered other hobbies. So yeah, so from getting into motorcycling,
yeah,
it's triggered other hobbies like your photography,
yes,
and then more so your videography.
yeah, yeah,
You've dived deep into that.
yeah. I have. I think like majority of people who are obsessed with their bikes. I think every opportunity you have, you to
Can't
stop and
turn around and take a picture of it.
yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's a given.
it's something in I don't know what it is. If it's like built into you or if you absorb it. That's how.
If you don't get off your bike, turn around and
Whichever.
a second glance,
Yeah,
it's the
and
wrong
take a
bike.
picture.
And take a picture.
And take a picture.
It's not a right bike for you.
Exactly. So doing that, first of all, kind of just doing it with your phone when you're out and about, parking up, there's a nice field in the background. There's a nice church. There's a nice pub. There's a like we are today, a nice phone box that's now a different plate. Park it up and take a picture. Right. That became a thing. Start posting on Instagram. Um, and people are like, oh, like this, get a few likes, start off with 10, 20, 30 likes. So, it kind of gives you the buzz.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just taking more pictures. And then I think speaking to you and a few others as well about like photography. And I've always liked cameras and taking pictures and stuff like that. But since I met you and a few other of the Lost Boys who were more into that photography, it was like, you had your cool little Fujifilm cameras and stuff like that. And I thought, yeah, cool. This sounds like another money pit.
It's a
then.
good mix.
Yeah.
It's a good mix.
Yeah, that
Don't
gonna-
just make
yeah,
it.
exactly. But I'm gonna be indulging in myself, and it did. And I started, I went looking at cameras and ended up getting my Fuji. I've still got my XT2, and it's still, it's a little workhorse. So it's every time I used to strap my camera to my to my around my waist and jump on my bike and just, either if it's an after work or a lunchtime ride, go out, just
Yeah.
park up and take those shots, post them on Instagram and just, yeah, just wait for that appreciation.
That appreciation is coming back. So you've got people from the motorcycling world, companies that are approaching you. So
Yeah, it's a funny old world, isn't it? Just through doing that, also kind of extending to videography and taking videos and exploring that world. It's I think
it's a new world.
it's yeah, it's
Get
nice.
rewarded for your passion. Right.
Yeah, in a way, and I do feel very lucky just in terms of like the kind of the Instagram account that I am kind of running. It's by no means a massive account or anything, but it's yeah, caught attention of a few people, which is always nice and appreciation of the bike. I just feel like it's an extension of the biking community in the real world, almost, right? Like it's just appreciation of the bike, right? Everyone just likes to recognize it. Yeah, a nice picture of a bike or video, and I think I was talking to you earlier of just just a POV shot of you riding along with a nice soundtrack of your engine and your exhaust, like
I'm a dodgy backpack.
it's it's to be honest with I never set out to create. I'm not a create. I don't class myself as a creator or anything like that. I just do this for fun, right? I never went out to. This isn't my full time job. I don't actually, to a point. I don't even really want it to be my, a full time thing because it's almost taking something that you love passionately and making it a thing, which I didn't.
Turns into a job.
I don't want it to turn into a job. So it's not something that I would ever want to happen. But being able to have a sense of or a platform to be creative, combining that with a passion such as motorbiking, photography, videography, and just being able to express yourself yes, there's 101 people who do very similar things, but I think from your point, it's my point of view, it's my experience, it's my lived experience, right? Where I get to hang out afternoons with friends and have a beer and document that and spin it with a little creativity.
When we went camping,
Yes,
things like that.
exactly. So it's nice to be able to do things, and the good thing about the biking world is that you can make friends quite quickly, right?
Like-minded people.
Exactly. So like even with getting to know you guys and kindly enough invite me to join the Lost Boys and being part of that crew. When I first like joined, it was like, oh, this is cool. And I would tell some of my friends and family, and they're like, oh, what have you joined the Hells Angels now? Have you? That kind of
Much more inclusive.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're gonna go and transport some goods cross country. No, it was so nice to be kind of invited.
It's like finding your tribe.
Exactly. Yeah, it does feel like you find your tribe, like-minded people who just. It's almost like when you're a kid, and after school your mates come over, ring your doorbell, and say, "Can you come out for a?"
Coming out to play on your
You
bike.
go and ask him up, and
Exactly
like, "Oh,
that,
can I go
yeah.
and ride with my friends?" It has such like that feeling. It's like we're gonna, it's a nice Sunday afternoon, it's a weekend.
Adventure.
Yeah, exactly. You ask your other half, like, "Can I go out?" I was to hang out, ride my bikes from a yeah, exactly. So it feels like an adult version of that, right?
Yeah,
To an extent.
absolutely.
So I
It's an
yeah,
upgraded version.
it is an upgraded version and a very expensive version of that, but like it's so worth it because however much money you pump into it, I think you get rewarded in a way that is priceless because
Headspace.
yeah, the mental health factor of it. So you can go for a solo ride, you can get away, and it's like when you're riding along a country road, you're riding along in third or fourth, and you kick it down a gear, you turn a corner, and you accelerate. Just you're living in that moment, right? There's nothing else. Everything just melts away. I know it's a cliche. I know it's been oversaid many times, but it is real because there is something about just being out on a ride that really allows you to just be doing one thing and focusing on that and escaping whatever people live different lives, people have different problems, things like that, and biking I really think is a great mental health tool that is underutilized by a lot of people. So yeah, that's a great thing. But I think more importantly than that for me has been the community element, getting to know people, getting to make friends with strangers in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
Um,
On
to-
long-term value.
yeah, exactly. To be able to just randomly call up your group of mates and be like, "You want to go for a ride? I've had a shit day. Let's go for a ride." You don't really get that. I don't think you get that in many other communities or activities to the level. It's hard to explain that who's not in that environment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different depth to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's no camaraderie in anything else that you find in motorcycling. And people can come from all walks of life and you just instantly connect.
Yeah.
It's quite unique.
It is. It's
What it offers is unique as well.
it offers a lot, I think, and there's so many different avenues you can go down as well, right? Like I do feel like in the biking world there are kind of, I think cliques are the wrong words, but like you have your separate tribes within cycling as well, right?
Yeah.
Like to an extent, you have your adventure riders, your Harley riders, you have your sports bike riders, and I don't even know what category we are. Like, I don't know what it is, like modern classic, like
culture.
Yeah, like that kind of
Pub culture.
pub culture, almost
Riding culture.
yeah, but also almost like a little bit of a appreciation to the throwback, right?
Yeah.
Of like the kind of vintage, the modern classic, the classics. Because I know you like you've got a you've got your Thruxton, but you also have got a classic, right? Yourself, and I think all of us we appreciate a lot of the meets that we go to are probably more towards those classic meets, the older bike meets and
Work that goes involved in building it, storing it, keeping it running.
yeah,
And then, like you say before as well, the customization,
yeah,
so all of that.
yeah. Like the thing about your coming to your place and obviously you've got a selection of bikes at home, right? Like I think it's you and your dad that share a collection and things like that. I think just that sense of having something to work on and tinkering.
And the love of a good garage.
Yeah, exactly. It's the small thing. I think the older you become as well, the appreciation of doing low key activities. I think it's quite cool. Like recently started fishing as well, and then one of those the kind of things that fly fishing and
Attention to detail.
camping and things like that. Just yeah, it's the attention to detail. It can get very technical. There's a lot to learn, which is always good.
Process.
Yeah, it's the process.
time, the effort, and the quality.
Yeah, exactly. And time spent in nature and out, right? Like, I think, I think the older I get, the three things that I really kind of want to combine is biking, camping, fishing, cooking, all of that, and and appreciation of a good beer. Is I think the older I get, the more I appreciate it. Right?
You
Like,
want less,
yeah,
but you want things simple but quality.
quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Exactly. So those kind of things, and you don't need much, right? The older we get, the more you realize that you don't need all the material things that you used to kind of chase after as a younger person. But
Just want the experiences.
yeah, exactly. And yes, there are many bikes and many things like that you can choose, and you can get lost in that world of spending a lot of money and time and effort into pumping into your bikes, but again, that's all surface level. I think underneath it all is that sense of having something on your own that you share with a group of people that hopefully will become your friends one day, right? Like it's because you've got a common theme that you all enjoy. So
Yeah. So, do you have any trips in the country that you want to take, explore?
yeah, well, I would love to do a lot of them, but I think again, it's trying to juggle life and your passions, right? Like there's an element of trying to balance everything out because if you had the freedom, you would go and just ride your bike and do everything you want every single day of your life. But unfortunately, like most of us, we've got to work for a living, right?
True.
So we've got to try and balance it. So yes, there are a lot of things that I want to do. There's a few more plans, camping trips that I want to do. There's nothing concrete yet. I think the time when we went camping, I think it would be good to do a bit more of that. Maybe just picking random places in the countryside. There's Devon, Cornwall, Wales, Scotland. There's lots of adventures to be had in the UK.
Is the typical Route 66 on your list?
Oh, the big American route. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely.
I think it's on everywhere. I think it's Shane list.
It is. Yeah, exactly. I mean, who doesn't want to get a big hard ass ride down Route 66? But
Exactly.
I think, yeah, I think there's a lot of. I'd love to, when I was speaking to you earlier, I'd love to get my hands on a Yamaha Tenere, a Tenere 700, because I think
So you want to add to the garage?
I do. Yes, yeah. I hope my wife's not listening because yeah. So there is a plan to get a second bike. Ideally, I want something that is a bit more capable for longer journeys. The Scrambler's lovely, but I think having something like a Tenere, I don't feel like it's a full dive into the dad bike
Yeah.
thing.
It's
I feel like
got a touch of rebellious
yeah, exactly.
hooliganism.
When I've seen it nicely customized. There's a few kits that you can add on there to, I think Holy Moly and a few other companies. You can add on kits to make it. I think there's one that does a throwback to like a nice like Dakar Rally style bike, which I feel like you can get away with without having a full dad bike. Which again,
Breaching the gate.
I'm not there yet, so I'm not good. I'm not.
Is this going to be your forever bike?
I think you know what it's
Yeah.
yeah. I think I will keep the Scrambler, only add to it. So add to
So
the collection.
would you want to do a nice long tour on that to add memories to it?
It's a good question. I think having done a few 4 or 5 hour journeys on it,
Trip over to France?
yeah, it's
Ireland?
doable. But I one of the reasons why I want a Tenere and things like that is it's a lovely bike, but it's not super capable off road. Where a Tenere you can, you can absolutely chuck it. You can take it off road. It's a bit more versatile.
So we can completely off map exploring.
Yeah. Like since probably about 14 years old, I've always wanted to do the Dakar Rally, which I think is probably an unachievable dream. But my dream is to one day do something, or if not the Dakar Rally, something very similar, where you go for
Amazing
like,
scenery, landscape.
exactly, like maybe like a couple of months where you just go cross continents, like and do kind of a rally style kind of event.
I've got a plan for that.
Let's talk about it. Because there's a few times in the past where I've nearly signed up to a few rallies, like even to not this isn't bike related, but there's the Mongol rally where you get like I think it's from London to Mongolia, but you have to do it on a 1 liter car.
I've heard this.
Yeah, so I nearly signed up to it, like a few friends in the past that we nearly kind of pulled the trigger on it. There's also a kind of a tuk-tuk ride from the north to the south of India, where you just do it in a tuk-tuk and stuff like that. So there's a couple of things that I've almost gone for it, and I feel like if I get a Tenere,
It's a bucket list.
it's one step closer to potentially doing something that's a lot similar to those types of adventures.
Doing all that.
Yeah, so which a bit more of a capable bike. Also, having a second bike, you put less miles on your other bike, right? Like you can spread the load, as if you were to say. Yeah, so that's the plan, man. It's good to have a few things in mind, but I think I'd love to do a few European trips, longer term, long distance kind of things.
Get some proper adventures.
Yeah, to cross the border to France, Spain, Italy. Do even like the kind of areas that are
just amazing roads.
Anywhere
amazing landscape. Just a proper wild adventure. Some wild camping.
Wild camp, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So if Freddie Dobbs can park in a car park and be all right, I think we'll be all right. So yeah, I think we'll do we'll definitely put something together. I know it'll be good to do maybe like even like a little Lost Boys tour or something at one point.
It's in the works.
Brilliant.
So, ending on that. So, what does motorbiking give to you, and where does it take you mentally, spiritually? What does it mean to you?
Oh, that's a big question.
A life question.
I feel like motorbikes give me a lot. It's opened up a whole new world that I never.
Isn't that from a wedding? Disney Plus.
Sponsored by Disney. I do feel like it's however cheesy it sounds, it feels like it's opened up a new segment in my life that I can really throw myself in and actually feel accepted, feel comfortable, and I think it's mentally and spiritually taken me to a place where I feel like I get balance in my life. I've got an escape. There's when life gets a bit demanding and it can work life and all that can get a bit hectic. Being able to call up on your mates, being able to, or even if it's not that, even if you're able to do that solo riding, going out there, getting on the bike, just takes you away for a couple of hours. I feel like it's given me a lot.
And what does it mean to you?
What does it mean to me?
Everything.
It
Becomes your life.
Yeah, I don't think it like means everything and nothing at the same time, because I feel like it's so incorporated into me now. I can't imagine life without it.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard question for me to answer, because I think it's part of me now. I feel like it's like seeped into my DNA, where if
it was taken away,
Yeah.
you'd feel lost.
Yeah.
Very much.
Well, that's a sad reality. That's
Yeah.
enough to bring a tear to your eye, isn't it?
That's a true bike.
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously though, I do think my life would be poorer for it if I didn't have that element to it. Yeah, but I think for me, more than anything, it's the ability to open up a section of life to me that is usually you don't have access to.
We can't express.
Yeah,
It's a release.
It is, but I think for me more than that is the fact that I get to meet people that I normally wouldn't in regular life, right? Like, how many of the people that you've met through biking would you have met through regular life, right? It's I think it's such an opener to life and people. I think it's a great tool, and if you're not riding,
You're not living.
You're not living.
You're not living.
Exactly.
Right.